From the late 18th century, the islands of the Pacific are targeted by Christian missionaries. The fate of these missionaries vary. Some die. Some give up. Many achieve success, usually after years of struggle. But one missionary has a fate unlike any of his peers. He becomes a millionaire. In 1835, the first European missionaries, two Wesleyan Methodists, arrive in Fiji. They establish their mission on the eastern island of Lakemba. Although the Wesleyans are encouraged by their previous successes on nearby Tonga, and the presence of a sizable and receptive Tongan community on Lakemba, their work is extremely difficult. The Fijians are reluctant to give up their old gods and are lukewarm about Christianity. Nevertheless, more Wesleyan missionaries arrive with their families. Things become more complicated for the Wesleyans in 1844, when two French Catholic Marist fathers arrive on Lakemba. The Wesleyans are not welcoming. A pamphlet in Fijian, spread by one of the Wesleyans, exemplifies their views on Catholics. In it, the Pope is represented as a monster, bishops as excessively corrupt men, Catholic missionaries as liars and hypocrites, desiring human blood, who will only come to Fiji to deliver it to France, and to carry off its inhabitants into slavery. But over the decades, both denominations make progress. More missionaries come and spread out from Lakemba to other Fijian islands. By 1886 there are 8 Catholic mission stations in Fiji, and around 9,000 adherents. In 1888, a newly ordained and energetic 23-year-old Marist missionary, Father Emmanuel Rougier, arrives from France. He has a vibrant personality and a magnificent red beard. Posted to the Rewa district on Viti Levu, Rougier embraces the richness of Fijian culture. He has a passion for converts. When a village decides to renounce Wesleyanism and become Catholic, Father Rougier travels and baptizes them. He then collects all the Wesleyan Bibles and replaces them with Catholic books. Returning to his own mission by boat and passing the Wesleyan station, he tears up some of the books he has collected and scatters the leaves along the mission's foreshores. At his own station he builds a bonfire and burns the rest. The indignant Wesleyans protest, and Rougier's bishop, officially at least, chastises him. In Rewa, Rougier embarks on an ambitious building program, a presbytery, a convent and a new school. And finally, the grand church which he envisions as Fiji's Roman Catholic cathedral. Completed in 1905, it is built from coral limestone. It features stained glass windows with Fijian inscriptions, a bronze clock and 2 bronze bells, all imported from France. While building his cathedral, Rougier befriends newly arrived fellow Frenchman Athanasius Gustave Cécile. 20 years older than Rougier, Cécile was imprisoned on New Caledonia in 1873 for desertion from the French colonial army. After release, he was forced to reside on the island, where he collected scores of fines for drunkenness, before fleeing by small boat to Fiji. Rougier gives Cécile work, and performs the marriage ceremony when Cécile weds a local girl. This action displeases the bishop, as such European Fijian marriages are frowned upon. Then in 1906, Cécile learns that he has inherited a large fortune, almost 1 million gold francs, on the death of his father. But worn out by his years of military service and imprisonment, he now only wants a simple life in Fiji, and not the stress of managing an inheritance. So he entrusts his fortune to his friend, Father Rougier, with the only condition that Cécile receive a pension for life. But Father Rougier, along with celibacy, has taken vows of poverty and humility. Marists aim to be ignoti et quasi occulti in hoc mundo, in English, hidden and as if unknown in this world. Their focus is spiritual and reflective. Temporal matters such as commerce and politics are to be avoided. Nevertheless, Father Rougier accepts this money, and the gift and conditions are legally notarized in Suva. It is not long before Rougier puts this money to use. In 1907, at an auction in Suva, he purchases Washington and Fanning Islands, then in liquidation. Shortly after, he begins negotiations to acquire a 99-year lease to the much larger Christmas Island. They all lie close to the equator, south of Hawaii, and are part of the Line Islands. They all contain coconut plantations and have potential for additional profitable ventures. Rougier employs Fanning and Washington's previous owners to manage their plantations and administer the islands. Over the next few years, he undertakes extensive travel to the US and Europe to visit relatives, search for buyers for his islands, and pursue his larger dream, the lease of Christmas Island. Newspapers, particularly in Hawaii and on the US West Coast, report extensively on his travels. Eventually, he is removed from his Marist missionary post for being absent without permission, but retains his standing as an ordained priest. In 1911, he sells his islands to a Canadian and English syndicate for a substantial profit. Returning from signing the deal, he books passage on the Titanic's maiden voyage. But at the last minute he changes his plans. In 1913, Rougier secures the 99-year lease of Christmas Island. It is one of the world's largest atolls. It has more than 31,000 hectares, or around 77,000 acres of land, which surrounds a lagoon area of roughly the same size. It is around 1,000 nautical miles north of Tahiti and over 1,000 nautical miles south of Honolulu. Its lease was first granted in 1902 by the British government to Lever's Pacific Plantations. The company established more than 72,000 coconut palms on the island, although extreme drought killed 75% of the trees, and the island was abandoned in 1905. A year after his purchase, Rougier publishes a book, in French and English, about the island. In it, he describes the island's geography and its vegetation and wildlife. He outlines its economic potential and his future plans. But development does not begin in earnest till 1916, when Rougier buys the two-masted schooner Elizabeth May. In San Francisco, he loads everything necessary for life on the island, including 2 Ford cars. He initially staffs the island with 20 Chinese and 23 Tahitians, of both sexes. Rougier runs the island as Central Pacific Coconut Plantations Limited, and even issues his own stamps. Business is very successful and very diverse. The island's products include copra, fish, pearl shell, and sea cucumber. But Rougier has more than an economic interest in Christmas Island. He explores and maps the island, bestowing place names like London, Paris, Sicily Peninsula, Oasis, and Poland. He finds abundant evidence of shipwrecks. On the northeast part of the island he discovers a group of 6 stone-lined graves, which he presumes are European, and another tomb with a stone wall and path. Along the east coast, he finds 2 more stone tombs with human bones and ashes nearby. Further exploration reveals traces of a marae, a communal or sacred place in Polynesian societies. He also finds 2 groups of stone-lined structures that he takes to be the remains of villages and also further graves, some likely Polynesian. When Captain James Cook came upon the island in 1777 and named it, he saw no signs of human occupation, either recent or ancient. Modern radiometric dating from sites on the island has placed the period of human use between 1250 and 1450 AD. In 1918, at the age of 54, Rougier finds his dream home on the island of Tahiti. Of 30 hectares, or 74 acres, it is the former residence of the director of the Bank of Indochina, and has one of the best views in Tahiti. From here, he will oversee and regularly inspect his Christmas Island enterprise. In Tahiti, Father Rougier displays the same energy that has been the hallmark of his life. He becomes president of the Chamber of Agriculture, founder and president of the Tourist Office, and a member of the colony's board of directors. He is a founding member of the Society of Oceanian Studies, formed to explore and document Eastern Polynesian anthropology, ethnography, language, archaeology, history, customs, and traditions. It will become the oldest learned society in French Polynesia. He serves 7 years as its president, as well as contributing scholarly articles. He acquires further land in Tahiti and eventually owns about 1/8 of the island. In the early 1920s, the father, suffering from ill health, installs his nephew and godson, Paul-Emmanuel Rougier, as manager on Christmas Island. Only 23 years old, he is a hard worker and under his care the island flourishes, and the coconut groves grow from 300,000 to 800,000 trees. On December 16, 1932, at the age of 69, Father Emmanuel Rougier dies of a heart attack at his home in Tahiti. It is 44 years since he first came to the Pacific. Originally as a missionary to a people who, in then living memory, had practiced cannibalism. He was a seeker of converts and a builder of cathedrals. Then a buyer and seller of islands and the owner of one of the world's largest coconut plantations. Finally, a leading and much mourned figure in Tahitian society and Polynesian studies. But all the while, he remained a priest. Father Rougier leaves behind an estate valued at $5 million. He leaves Christmas Island and the bulk of his estate to his nephew, money to his nieces, his housekeeper, and to charities. He leaves $650,000 to the Fijian widow of his benefactor, Athanasius Gustav Cecile.